It's going to be NBA preview of this upcoming season, and the team I'm going to talk about right now is the Oklahoma City Thunder. The top storyline for the Oklahoma City Thunder is Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, like everyone knows, had a knee injury last year's playoffs with Patrick Beverly. Was going for the ball on the timeout and actually tore his knee up. Westbrook is going to be out for a few months. We don't really know. Probably around January or late December. That's going to be a huge blow for this team because this is an All NBA player, top 10 player. It's going to be very very tough for the Oklahoma City Thunder because you can't just replicate those kind of points, that production. The guys, the driving force of this team offensively. I think he's one of the leaders of this team, and this is going to be a huge blow for this team. Until he gets back. Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant, he's a superstar, second best player in the game behind LeBron James. He can score. He can flat out score. He's gonna have to do it all. And when I say he has to do it all, meaning he can't just score. He has to be able to distribute. He has to pass. He has to be able to get other players involved. He has to expand his game even more. Whereas Russell Westbrook was there, he could just pile up a lot of points and they oppose their will that way. But right now, the whole focus is going to be on Kevin Durant. So now he will have to be more of a distributor. He's going to have to do a little more. He has to do a lot more. Actually, got to do a lot more until Russell Westbrook is back. So he has to definitely be more of a distributor. Oklahoma City's Thunder, their bench is going to be very thin. And I say thin meaning they're not going to have a lot of production for their bench. It's gonna be tough for them. It's gonna be real tough for them this season. Not losing Kevin Martin. Also this the situation people always keep talking about the James Harden. James Harden's gone. You can't really talk about that. As much. I mean, he's gone, but you just gotta you gotta work it from there. Um, yeah, the bench is going to be very thin. They're not going to have a lot of guys out there that's going to be able to give them high production off the bench in this coming season. But that's yet to be seen. I just can't. But right now, I don't really see a lot of production coming in from this team. Reggie Jackson, Jeremy Lamb, and Steve Adams. These three young guys has to step up. I mean, these guys have to step up. Jeremy Lamb, he's been there for 2 years now, and I think this is his time. He has to be able to step up. He has to be able to score. He has to be able to score. He's gonna have to be able to do things for this team because they're gonna need production. They're gonna need to see what he's made of because they're gonna actually have the investment in the future because he's a young player, a high draft pick, and they gotta see what he's gonna be able to do. That's also with Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson's actually gonna be starting this upcoming season until Russell Westbrook gets back. Reggie Jackson, he played decent in the playoffs, but I think he got to be more consistent, be able to distribute more, be able to be more of a manager, and things like that in the backcourt, and lay off the turnovers and be able to be very formidable. To make sure this team is be able to not rest solely on Kevin Durant, but also just give them another option where the team's gonna have to game plan for. That's also with Steve Adams. Steve Adams is a big man, rookie, but he has to be able to be productive. It's hard for this to call on rookies to be productive right away. But somewhat of the emergency for this team, they really actually need him to be somewhat productive, coming off the bench. Serge Ibaka, this guy, he has his contract, but Serge Ibaka has to be more consistent offensively. I mean, I've seen it. He's worked on his game past few years with that jump shot, but I think he needs to add a little more to his game. I think he needs a go-to move while posting up. He needs to be able to score because teams right now is they're laying off Serge Ibaka. You know, they see him as just a more of a block shot defensive guy, but he has to be able to expand his game a little more. He has to be able to actually score in the post. Just give him another option. You know, just give him another option. Not more of a pick and pop guy shooting jump shots. He has to be able to. He has to be able to score in a box. He has to be able to because they're gonna need him to expand his game because you don't want to be a team that's a one trick pony that your players never is not going to truly develop into something that they can be just by doing the same thing over and over. Will Perkins get moved? I feel that he is. I think Kendrick Perkins is going to get moved. He has somewhat of an unfavorable contract, but it's an expiring deal, so should be able to move Kendrick Perkins. He really doesn't give them too much production. Um, and I think the whole issue with Oklahoma City, I think it never worked out for him. A lot of people say that. I just think this system isn't for Kendrick Perkins. I think you've been playing at Boston all those years, and then it comes to Oklahoma City. It's not. It wasn't just. It was just something about the system that really never resonated into wins, and that's always I think has been a problem with Kendrick Perkins. Oklahoma City is lack of 3-point shooting. Lost Kevin Martin. They don't really have any actually consistent 3-point shooters, and this is going to be key. They didn't go for anybody in the offseason. That's another thing. I think they need some 3-point shooters. I mean, don't get me wrong, Kevin Durant is a shooter, but he's not a specialist. You always need that kind of guy that's a specialist that be able to knock down shots for you. That could help superstars so they don't have to pile up on superstars on what they're doing. You need someone to open up the floor. And right now they don't even have that. And that's also going to be huge for Oklahoma City this season if they don't make a trade to probably get that guy that can stretch the floor. Is Scott Brooks going to be on a hot seat? I think so. I think he's going to be in a hot seat this season because of the situation with Russell Westbrook being injured. But just just overall, man, he's going to be in a hot seat. I think they has aspirations of winning a championship, and he's I think just going to the playoffs is not going to be able to do it. He has to be able to win it. You know.